And 3, 2, 1. We're live. Let's go.
Hello. Welcome back to the XXL Podcast with myself, Drew Spender, and the one and only Joshua Eastham. Joshua, who have we got on the podcast today?
So today we have a good mate of mine, actually. I originally knew this guy and met him at the Snow Centre in Hemel Hempstead.
Okay.
We both basically started working there, got good mates, and then we both were fairly talented on skis and, on the snow, really. And we were both kind of striving for sponsorship, and the rest, I'm sure, will be revealed by Ross, really, because I don't really want to kind of take the words out of his mouth. So let me let him in. I don't know if he'll be ready because he's been sat there for a little bit.
All right.
Hey, there he is. He's ready.
Hey, how are you doing, guys?
Yeah, good. How are you, mate?
Yeah. Doing well, thank you. Doing well.
So Ross, let me do a quick intro. Drew.
Hey, Drew.
Drew's another dude who lives in Kings Langley / Leverstock. Is that right, Drew?
Yeah, that's me.
So a local lad. You used to live around this way, didn't you, Ross? And then you moved Bedford way?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I used to live in Highfield, and then coming up for 4 years ago, moved up to a little village called Wilstead, which is basically towards Bedford. So about 45 minutes away. It's not too bad, but yeah.
Yeah.
And one extreme to the other.
Yeah. And I'm assuming from looking at the background, you're not in the house, you're in the studio.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So I don't know if it's echoey at your end, but it's well echoey in here.
You know, it's not too bad. It's a tiny bit, yeah, but it's not as what I would expect it to be.
Yeah, there's no carpet or anything in here at the moment, so it is just sound bouncing off the walls. But yeah, this is it. So this is in Bedford, so it's about 15 minutes away from my house, and it's the new unit. So we're halfway through developing it, and then the whole COVID thing hit, and then obviously just at a standstill.
Yeah. So I was talking to Drew literally I was kind of telling everyone really about how we met. So we met basically at the Snow Centre, right?
Yeah.
So we met there, and then essentially I guess we become the people just for the freestyle side of the Snow Centre. And then I think it kind of grew because it was the very initial when it opened. We were kind of the first people there. Now, do you want to talk about, obviously, you've got a pretty incredible story. So I think it's only fair to kind of let you dive in with that and kind of tell us about really kind of what you did and then what it's led to now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, I mean, I can appreciate the fact that it's different. It's completely different to most people. But yeah, it is what it is. So I started out as a freestyle skier and became sponsored and basically was a professional skier for 7 years. Probably from the Snow Centre opened. So I used to just go on holiday with my family, and I didn't freestyle skiing wasn't a thing. So for those of you who don't know, it's you go off jumps and things. You might see the snowboarders doing it, and in the Olympics and various other things. So that was it. So it's a lot more an extreme sport. And then when the Snow Centre opened, I went and got a Saturday job there, and that's when Josh and I met. Was obviously just working there, and then they gave you free slope time. Like I said, freestyle skiing wasn't really a thing. It was Josh used to snowboard at the time, and it was just me on skis and all my snowboard friends on a Friday night, and I was just trying to copy them and things, and and it was crazy thinking back how much has changed since that.
Yeah, how it's evolved.
Which really wasn't that long ago. I'm 28 now, so I was probably about 17 at the time. So I mean, 10 years, but going from freestyle skiing just not being a thing, and then I spent a lot of time in hospital back then just trying to learn things. You were seeing what the pros were doing on these film segments every year, and there was no one to coach you. It was just trial and error and just copying things. And then became sponsored within around about a year by Atomic Skis, and then that's when things just started to roll. I started to compete internationally, and kind of travel the world and kind of, yeah, do various media things, which was super cool. And then I'm kind of like condensing it all a little bit, and we can break into it if you want to.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting. But then, through, again, a lot of injury, I clearly wasn't very good. I think good enough to get paid, but not good enough to not get injured. So yeah, and then, through a lot of injury, I kind of started to think I was probably about between 23 and 24. I don't know, I got the house at like 24. So like, around about that time, I started to kind of think, like, we're not getting paid like football players, right? So what's next? My now wife, Kath, we've been together 11 years. So she's actually been all the way through from before I skied all the way through to now as well, which is really cool. But at the time, it was like, we were starting to think about having a place of our own and all of those kind of things. So that's when my attention kind of turned to filming. And then I just started to kind of like sponsors turned to clients, and I just juggled the two for a couple of years, and then just made the decision that, look, the skiing's fun, but I'm just going to leave that as a hobby now, and then focus on building and growing a production company. And then within 2 years, we've gone from just me to employing a team of people. We employ an externals team. We have obviously a studio now, and even like looking beyond it, with this whole COVID thing, we've set up an online academy and a Facebook group where I can kind of do like live Q&As to help other people who are aspiring. And I'm not saying I know it all by any means, but I've invested a lot of money and time into learning from people who have been through the same thing. So hopefully I can give back to a couple of people as well. So yeah. In a kind of condensed version, that's me. So you've got one extreme to then now filmmaking. So yeah.
So I guess like for me, the fascinating, I genuinely saw how fast it took off, because I remember being, like you said, we were down there, we were riding like every single week, even during like the evenings, really, on the weekends, we would find something to then create something and try and do certain tricks and stuff like that. But like you said, there's no way of being just good at this. You are physically you see something and you're mimicking the body movement and you're hoping that you're going to stick it and you're going to land. And I remember many a time, like me and you riding, and we would just call a trick and it would be like, right, okay. And you just try it. 9 times out of 10, we were hitting so hard. But like you started to get an idea of actually where you were in the air, and I think that's kind of that aerial awareness, like, is one, massive, but two, leading through to when you're going into your filming career. Like I'll put some clips up and stuff like that over the top of this so people can see. But you're physically, there's a guy, Jamie Nichols, who's an Olympian. You do a lot of filming for him, and you're physically not just filming him, but you're actually going over the jump yourself to capture like airborne, like real time. So not only you've got like a couple of grand's worth of equipment in your hand, you're potentially 40 foot in the air and trying to look at someone to make sure that they're in the shot. Like that to me is unreal.
Yeah, well, I think I can appreciate that it's like it is out there, but then like I've had to hit like 80-foot jumps for the most part of my life, and have to do a trick, and that might be I don't know, double flips or 1080s or 12, whatever, like just loads of spin stuff. So actually just to go over the jump and like, yes, you have a different kind of concern because obviously you have a lot of equipment, but at the same time you're just doing a straight air. So it kind of made sense. And I'm a firm believer of like just, it's so cliche, like pushing boundaries, but using your equipment. Do you know what I mean? Like it's insured and like, just trying different things. Otherwise your content's going to kind of look like everyone else's.
Yeah.
But the biggest like surreal moment was, I think 2 years ago, I flew out on a trip with Monster specifically for one shot to follow an athlete over a jump. And so they gave me, it was a red camera with an Arri Cine lens and a Movi. So, I mean, all in all, we're looking at like over like $100 grand worth of equipment, like probably pushing like maybe about 100 grand, maybe just over, around that ballpark. Like And I was there for this one, like, I was there for a whole week just for this one shot. And like, everyone's like, oh, you know, like, if it doesn't feel good, like, you know, don't worry. And it's like, yeah, but like, you know, I'm here.
Don't put doubt in my mind.
I mean, the honest thing is, like, you don't know until like you hit the jump, really. And like, and what I didn't expect was the camera weighed so much. So like when I went over the jump, like the compression firstly was like insane. Like I literally thought like I'm gonna like mess this up because
legs buckle type thing. Yeah,
legs would just buckle. But it actually went all right. But the camera has like a different trajectory because it's weighty. It has its own kind of movement.
Yeah.
So you find yourself in the air, like having to like pull the camera like back round and then being ready for like the impact of the landing.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So
can I go on? Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, like, I've only ever crashed once, like, by doing this, and it wasn't with that camera. It was with my own setup, which is still probably about 15 grand. But yeah, I was following Jamie over a jump last winter, and I just knew, like, you know, about 2 meters before the end of the jump. By that time, it's like too late, and I came up so short. And I just hit the knuckle, and it just like the camera smashed everywhere.
Oh no!
And it was day 2 in Austria out of like a 6-day shoot. So we had to like make do with the other cameras and things. But so it doesn't always go to plan. But on the whole,
it does. You get an epic shot.
Yeah. Sorry, Drew. What were you gonna say?
I was just. It's a bit more of a question to both of you, really. Going right back to the beginning before you even got into the filming, and. How do you even get into skiing or snowboarding or whatever? Because, like, I mean, you obviously got all the normal sort of not normal sports, but like you've got all the more
accessible.
Normal, football, rugby, golf, tennis, whatever it is. Is it like how do you one realize that you're good at it, and 2, how do you get into it in the first place?
I think
is it all from holidays or?
I think, like, I don't know, Josh, maybe you agree with this. Like any sport, like, you don't set out on day 1 to, like, be the best at it as well. Like, it's like you wouldn't go to, like, your local football team and think, like, oh, I'm going to play Premier League, like, from day 1. So I think, like, the first thing is just, like, there's loads of, like, snow centres, like, indoor snow domes around now where you obviously go to. But there's also, like, over like 80 or 100 dry slopes as well, which, you know, isn't as fun to learn on, but, you know, there are options. So yeah, I think mainly is just like going on holiday and then things kind of spiral, like you kind of see people in the snow park and then that was kind of like it for us, wasn't it, Josh? Like kind of just going on family holidays and then.
Yeah, I think, a huge thing, like Ross said, there's kind of the accessibility nowadays. You know, okay, look, 20 years ago, Escape maybe was open in Milton Keynes. Like they were kind of the people who really kind of made it really and made this kind of possible to have snow inside. It was such a surreal thing. I remember my dad got a job there and stuff like that, and it was like. The biggest advice to anyone really who maybe is looking to get into it, look, it's never too late to get into it, 100%. You always learn stuff like that. But if you are a child and you start learning, or, you know, as young as possible, that's purely how I learned. I learned to ski when I could stand. My mum and dad did it, so they were like, go and do it. Like, you will come with us on a holiday and you will stand on these things until you get it. Like, but they were super happy with, like, look, you do it. But you learn in your own pace. Like we don't expect 1 week you're fine and then the next week you're on a black run. Like it just doesn't. And that's the big thing, especially being an instructor myself, is knowing that you learn at your own rate. You might have a natural gift of balance or like the rotation in your ankles and your hips. Like it might just work for you. And I think for me, especially like when I was learning, I learned. To ski, literally as soon as I could stand. So I'm assuming like kind of 18 months or something around then. And then I got bored of it, and I was like, I just don't want to do it anymore. And it was when boarding was kind of like launching more, and I was like, I want to do that. Like that's what I want to do. So I think at 7 years old, I learned, I had a couple of, I had a couple of lessons with a guy called Rob Needham, Drew, and this guy, as Ross knows, like he's like
He's
the
like
legend. Yeah, he's like an absolute legend within the snowboard. Like he kind of almost was helping founder what snowboarding was. It was a weird time, and yeah, and I did that, and then weirdly, like I just had an ability to kind of take to it very easily, and I wasn't interested in football, I wasn't interested in rugby and stuff like that, but this was like my passion, and I don't know what it was, but I think a big thing, and Ross, you'll probably find the same, is I as a kid loved a trampoline, and I had no fear of going upside down, and I think that really progressed in terms of when you are in the air on freestyle skis or board or something like that, that you have that awareness of where your body needs to be, otherwise it's not going to be on your feet, and it became a huge thing. And then when I got to 16, 17, me and Ross were in competitions and stuff like that, and there was a Burton competition. I don't know if you remember that. They had some wacky things.
Wasn't it, with the massive features?
Yeah, and these features were ridiculous for one, like pro level, and that was the first time I dislocated my shoulder. Which then I was like, oh, okay, this isn't good. Managed to get it back in, carried on riding for a bit because we were in mid comp, and I was like, this is an opportunity. Like, I was naive. I thought I've got to ride because I might get sponsored. Like, didn't understand how it worked. Then a week later was Rob Needham's competition, and literally I was like, yeah, just straight away started riding, dislocated it again straight away, and I'd never let it rest, and then it put me back onto skis, and that's why I ended up doing freestyle skiing. But there was a frustration because I'd say me and Ross were kind of like this on a ski and a board, and then suddenly I got injured and Ross just absolutely went mental, and it was like bang, and it was like sponsorship, travel the world, and it was like that's what I wanted.
Right, don't be jealous.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, and I was like, because of injury I couldn't, and it was so but it was so awesome seeing someone that I had been with and been like watching progress, basically like we were doing it together, and then just absolutely launch and just go for it. But I'd say,
it's one of them.
Getting into it. That's pretty much what I'd say is like start young. But it's never
one of them sports, though, isn't it? Like it's you go into it with the preparation that everyone might think, oh, snow's this fluffy white substance that looks like cotton candy. When you're dropping in from 20 foot in the air, that's like hitting concrete on the way down.
Yeah. So right.
And then you've got like the whole ice burn stuff as well, where you just come away with just cuts everywhere and like
skins you
as well. Yeah, it's mental. But no,
stick
absolutely.
to football. That's flipped and falling over.
Yeah. That's the thing, like that's actually kind of really nice. It's obviously very humbling to hear as well. But like, yeah, it's crazy. But then also, like, I've always like made the connection because I remember when we were at the snow center and like your shoulder would like pop out when you were just putting boots away or whatever. And then like you started going to the gym to like strengthen it for that. And I feel like that was the trigger to like where you are today as well. Yeah. And I am an absolute firm believer, no doubt about it, things happen for a reason. And even though you might not like it, it always does happen. Things in hindsight, always do work themselves out for the best. And I think that paves it, like the same with like injuries to film and, for me and like injuries to, bodybuilding and things for you, it's like, it does kind of pave that way. Which I think is really cool, really interesting as well. And it's a mental world, the whole action sports thing.
So
dive in.
I was gonna say,
diving into the injury part.
I was about to go.
Look at us, man. We've got this thing on lock. Like, we know what we're doing.
I should draw a little person and then just like
just break bits of it.
Do you want to go, Josh? Go on, you go. I asked the last question.
You know what? So, in terms of injury, I think that's a really good point. Like, give us an idea of kind of what things you've been like, list them off. But then also, I'd like to kind of hear that. This is my assumption that the injury kind of then was like a a gateway to then, okay, I need to fill time, and then the videography started to take over.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And like, I got some good points about that. So yeah, injury wise, like I've broken loads of things, and like it's quite flippant, but like breaks are like pretty simple. Like you break a bone, you wait 6 weeks, you do a little bit of rehab, you're like back to it. So like I've broken my my ankle, my wrist, my collarbone. My collarbone was a bit of a nightmare really, because I was in one mountain range that we had skied across to, so then I had to ski back in France and then take myself to the hospital. And actually pretty much all the time bar one, I've just taken myself to the hospital, and you're in like some denial every time you break something. You're in like this immediate denial of like, no, it's probably fine. Like, I remember breaking my collarbone and like looking at it, and it was literally like pushing
a mountain.
And then I was like, no, because if it was broken, I couldn't do this. Like, it's not broken, it's not broken. Like, just making it 100 times worse. And like, it happens every time. The same with my wrist. Like, when I broke my wrist, it was like, no, it's not broken because I couldn't like do this if it was broken. It's like, you think you'd learn, but you just don't.
Screaming in pain while you're doing it though. Like,
but like, yeah, just break it my wrist. It's not attached.
Yeah.
And then, so like those kind of like standard-ish breaks. And then I've had like a few more bizarre ones. I over-rotated a double front flip in a competition and landed on my neck. So like I kind of opened up from like the double front flip and like was continuing going forward. And I just pretty much like blacked out. And then it's like real, just like cagey, like third-person view of like things, which is interesting, by the way. So when you see things in third person, it's because your subconscious mind is actually protecting you, so it doesn't allow you to re-experience that trauma again in the first person. So you see it in the third person, which is fascinating actually. Like I'm a real thing for like the mind and like how it works.
Yeah. So just diving into that real quick, like say obviously when you were doing that, as you were over rotating and you were essentially going to that blackout stage, you almost felt like you were watching yourself kind of over rotate and coming into like you're almost watching from where public would be watching.
Yeah. Like I can see myself like fully, and it's like obviously I didn't have that vision. So
yeah. But you
can, as if you're watching someone else. Yeah.
That's
but
amazing.
that day was just doomed from the start. To be honest with you, like I just like now I watch out for things. Like I forgot my wallet when I went up to the competition. I was running late. Like it was second run in. Like it was just like it was just destined.
Just,
like,
yeah. Kind of law of attraction was just, it wasn't in the flow, just not
absolutely.
going well.
Yeah, fully. But then sometimes my mind now like can overcomplicate things and think like, am I going to? Everything's telling me I shouldn't do this thing, but and then sometimes it can work adversely. So
Yeah.
Look, things just happen. There's nothing you can do about them. But yeah, that was that one. Like another two really weird ones was I landed on my ski and it ruptured my tricep. So
I remember this, Drew. I remember this happening, yeah. And then so I can't remember where we were. I think this was quite early in the career, right? And I remember you coming up to me and being like, "The tricep is detached. Like it's so short."
Like Josh, I mean, my triceps are pretty good anyway, but but that is it. So it should be like down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know what I did for months. Like, I hurt my arm basically. I fell on a rail and then fell on my ski, and that's what ruptured it. But I carried on skiing. I was out in France at the time, and I like finished off like the season and things, and then came back, and then stopped hurting by this point. And then I noticed a lump on my arm. So I thought, if you notice a lump, you should go get it checked out anyway, just for an opinion. So they sent me for like some ultrasound things, and there's me thinking like, oh, it's a lump, like it could be anything. And they were like, you've ruptured your tricep. They were like, do you have any recollection of like hurting your arm at all? And I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And so that was weird. But then the weirdest one, which is one I talk about like the most as well, and it's not until I got older that I fully appreciate how lucky this was, but a ski went through my eyelid, like my actual eyelid. So like I fell and it pushed my goggles up and it went through my eyelid like that, and we're talking like not even a millimeter away from like being blind.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's the one that makes me really like, yeah, think
like,
like,
what if?
differently. Yeah.
Was when you made the jump from skiing to what you're doing now in terms of the filming, and the movie making and stuff, was it an injury, or was it time that you just thought, you know what, I've hit the ceiling of where I can with this? Let's
good question.
Build out something else.
It was an injury. So it was actually when I fell on landed on a trick, and I ruptured the ligaments in my knee, but it also it fractured my femur and dislocated my kneecap, and it was all pretty bad. And then so
the thought of this actually just makes me want to throw up. I couldn't think of anything worse. The eyelid one almost got me. This is the worst conversation.
If you go off camera, Drew, totally understand.
I'm shaking. I'm like,
oh my god,
it's so no. Jump into it. I want to know.
I don't
know this for myself.
You become so desensitized with things hanging off.
No. Let's get into
it. So anyway, I did that. And then rehabbed, got repaired, and then had the best competitive season that I'd had in terms of rankings and things. And then on a really simple trick, and I blew my knee again. I tore my meniscus, and that it was at that point that I was I'm pretty done with this now. The knee injuries take 6 months before you can literally carry on going again, and it's just it's such a ball ache. And I always used to think this when I was growing up through skiing, and it was being professional is really about how long you can stay out of injury. And you see all these kids that are absolute prodigies, and they're amazing, and they're going to be the next big thing, and they pick up one small injury and their mind's never the same again. And that's true for so many people. And I managed to keep a cap on that for so many years, and then it started to be real serious injuries. And again, I'm getting older at this point as well, and I'm thinking about a future, and I'm thinking about all these other things. So it was, to answer your question, it was in that transition period where when I did my knee the first time, I was in Austria, and I did all my rehab out there with some physio people and stuff. And once I got the all clear to walk on the mountain, I had a camera with me, so I just started filming and stuff, which just for fun. And then I just picked it up. So with no qualifications or anything like that, I just started to make things that I thought looked good. And then really just kind of made that jump to the other side of the camera, and then juggled it for a few years. So it was through injury that I just picked it up as a hobby, and then was people are starting to take notice of this. And I knew how sponsorship worked, so I knew that if I provided X for a company, then I could get X in return, kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of capital versus initiative.
I just exactly.
Let me provide you with the goods, and then in return they feel, well, actually this is worth every penny.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I just kind of took that same kind of athlete mindset kind of thing to just that determination and drive and putting your mind to something, and just working, hard work ethic. It is really what it comes down to. There's no secret to this. As you all know, it's consistency and work ethic. It's those two things, and that is really a recipe for success. And I kind of like to think that way anyway.
So talk through some of your clients, because I know you've had some pretty mad clients. Obviously, you mentioned Monster. Now, let's be honest, it's one of the most recognised, probably the most recognised energy drink in the world. Red Bull leads it, but I think actually Monster's probably the one that has really taken off in the extreme sports, just purely for some of the things that they're doing.
Have you ever watched the Red Bull soapbox race? That's something else.
The most extreme sport. Seen those injuries?
Mate, some of the ways they crash out is unreal. Oh.
Only available on day.
Else, that TV program. Yeah. Other TV stations are available.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go for it.
Yeah, all good. So client-wise, so we work with all sorts, and I really do mean that. We work with a lot of small local businesses, as well as working with major brands as well. So we've done work for Black & Decker, Department for Education. We did some work for like TK Maxx, Bacardi, Six Rental Car, a huge client of ours. We get to travel a lot with them. Extreme sports, like there's loads, but it's kind of a weird thing, the whole like big client, like blue chip thing. Like it really does build credibility. Like I do understand that, but it doesn't mean we put in any more or less effort with smaller clients or bigger clients.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's about making sure that, you know, we're the right fit for them and they're the right fit for us as well. You know, I am fortunate that we've grown the business to a situation where we can work with people who we just enjoy working with.
Yeah.
That's one of the best things is, you know, it's really important for me to grow a business to have a good relationship with that person and actually make sure that we're the right fit for them. You know, often, you know, videography, right, it is a high ticket item. Like it's expensive, like, you know, and not until I turn up to a shoot with like, you know, 20 grand's worth of equipment that people really understand why, you know, they're having to pay £1,000 for 5 videos or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really puts that into perspective. So, yeah, it is about just finding the right clients that understand the importance of high quality video as well. Because look, if you saw an advert for Monster, okay, and you know, one was just shot on an iPhone by your mum, and then, you know, the other one's shot professionally, you're gonna buy the more professional one because it builds trust. So good video builds trust with your clients, and that's what it's all about. So people can often damage their brands by not doing something properly and actually seeing the value that it adds, rather than just looking at like the cost of it. So yeah, that's something that we just try to like promote as much as possible, is like the amount of value and how you're going to be perceived by the wider audience.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, I think, like you're saying about working with, you know, small to large and blue chip and stuff like that, sometimes, especially from my job that I do with Randstad and stuff like that, you know, we're a global workhorse, and the amount of hoops that you've got to do for branding, for the look of the film, the way it's for the voiceover and this and that, that like some of the, like, obviously I absolutely love the videography and stuff like that. It's something that, you know, has been a hobby to me, especially with my gym stuff, and I'd love to continue to learn more and stuff like that, especially seeing some of the stuff you do. Like it, like you said, I watch it and then I think, right, how do I recreate that shot? Because that movement, that kind of thing, just, it works. So I've countless times been like, I want to do this for the company, or like, how I've got this great idea of doing like this for the company, and they're like, look, you know, it doesn't fit the brand. It doesn't fit. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the thing, like, break the stereotype, be risky, and you're going to talk to a whole different kind of layer of people. But the company itself, like, it just doesn't fit well. And I think it's really important, like you said, is getting that fit. You know, do you fit the company? Do you have the ability to suggest things and you're not going to get shut down, or the creative freedom to actually really show what you can do to make it the best professional video? Yeah, I think it's a really, really good point, is having that client kind of fit, especially, and choosing not just to take the money and actually be like, no, I can't do you justice. That I'd suggest you find someone else. That's something that's special, and it means you're in a fantastic place. Yeah,
and that's the thing as well, you know, and we do go the extra mile for certain people who we generally, you know, want to help out, or something that we're really passionate about. But, you know, we're not your £50 filmmaker, and you're not going to get that level of quality as well. And sometimes it's the people with the lowest budgets that have the highest expectations. And, you know, and I'm talking from experience here, you know, I've been burnt many times because, you know, you just want, you know, you want the money, you're chasing the money, and then you end up it costing you when you work it out. Like, okay, how many hours is that taking? Okay, so let's say you pay yourself minimum wage, right? And then, like, you know, so actually now you're paying yourself half of minimum wage because it's taken you so long because you took a crappy deal, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it is important, and it's a lot of people fail in videography because of the simple lack of business knowledge. So look, YouTube is amazing for learning about editing, filming techniques and things like that, and actual hands on the camera. There's so many people who are creative, But what it doesn't provide you with, and the whole reason that I set up this aspiring videographers Facebook group was because of that, like, because people just don't have that business knowledge, how to get clients onto retainers. We've just signed 4 projects in the last 2 days, like, and throughout this whole period, like, yes, work has slowed up, but because we've got clients and retainers, like, it's been work as usual. So it's providing people with that knowledge of how to create a stable income and a stable business model while still doing what you love. You can still do the fun things, but it's not going to be fun if you're basically taking crappy jobs all the time and being able to depict them.
Yeah. Right. I'm really conscious this is going to run out any second now. So, Ross, are you good for time? Because we can start another one. I feel like there's a lot more we can dive into.
Oh, mate,
yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm good for time, guys. So if you want to,
you good? You good for time?
Yeah, man, I'm sweet. Yeah. So,
and we are back.
Hello.
So you're just literally talking about obviously the clients and obviously the filmmaking stuff. So obviously this is you kind of diversifying within. Well, not just the pandemic, because I think you started this just before. I could see that you're offering like classes and kind of workshops essentially to kind of really learn about. Well, I guess you can. I don't want to butcher it.
Yeah. No. Well, we actually butchered it, so we signed off the project. So yeah, basically last summer, we put together an online course for how to make a successful business and building on the premise of everything that we've learned. And like I said at the start of this, I've spent a lot of time and an awful lot of money learning from other mentors and people from all different industries, whether it's social media marketing to general business and various guidance, So I feel like I've just kind of like taken that same. I've been trying to break this down for a while, like this athlete mindset, and like I'll use this as an example. So I'm currently tiling bathroom in the unit at the moment, and I could obviously get someone else in to do it, but I kind of quite enjoy those hands-on things. And I understand that people kind of look at it and think like, God, like, how do you know these things? But like, I don't think anything in life like really has that much to do with skill. Like, some people find things a little bit easier than others because they take it on, but it's just to do with knowledge. But knowledge is just perceived power. It's just potential power. It's actually implementing that to make it happen. And it's the same thing with skiing. Like, you learn about the stuff. You learn about how to tile a bathroom. You try to fill yourself with as much knowledge as you can, and then you give it a go, and then you fail. You make mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've learned the hard way where I've boxed in some pipes. I haven't quite made it level. And it hasn't been until I've tiled it that I now understand why, But then I'll know. So when I go to do the bathroom, at my house, I'll know these things for future. And it was the same with skiing. It was that like learning a trick, failing, getting it, okay, analysing it, what worked well, what didn't work well, how can I make this consistent? And it's exactly the same with business. And good business advice it's transferable to any industry. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. If it's good business advice, then it will move across. So that's why we kind of like set up this course. And then, in all honesty, like, it's a real passion for mine. It's something I've wanted to do for ages, and that's why we set up this course. But then the studios is the bread and butter of the business, right? It is the thing that like is the main cog in everything I've got going on. So that became a lot busier, and then it just meant that I couldn't focus on that. I couldn't spare my time to that. I had to focus on the business. It was before we bought the unit, and that's just been a rapid growth in itself. So I sidelined that project, and we didn't kind of like do anything on it. And then COVID hit, and I was just like, could this be like the silver lining, like the time I needed to actually spend this and use that time wisely? And I shared a quote which caused a bit of controversy. However, I think when I explained, and I'll explain it a bit better, I think then people then reasoned with me. Yeah. And it was a quote by someone that said to the effect of, if you don't come out of quarantine with a new skill, being a better person, or having learned something new, or done that thing you've always wanted to do, then you've never lacked time. You've lacked determination. And like, that's completely true. Like, I stand by that 100%. And here's why, is because you have this opportunity, there is a thing to go back to work and, be refreshed. We're never gonna have this time to like relax and things again, but you can't then moan that you haven't done something. I've set up a whole new business in this time. I've obviously, done the downstairs bathroom. I've developed new skills. And like, a lot of people who it caused a problem with were people who said like, well, yes, but for mental health, you need this time away. And look, yeah, I agree. However, I would argue the fact that that is to do with bettering yourself. You're still, whether you're learning mindfulness, or whether you're learning how to meditate, or all of these things, which I do as well, I think it's still about expanding your knowledge and bettering yourself. So that's why I believe that. I still stand by that, that quote. And it seems like a really good opportunity to do the things you've been putting off and that you've always wanted to do. And if you don't do that, no one's holding a gun to your head. It just shows it's down to you. And I'm sure you can like reason that a lot, just like in the fitness like world as well. It's like, it's just to do with that, like, do you want X more than you can deal with the sacrifice? So like for me with this studio, or with this new business, right? Do I want the outcome of that new business, the fact that it can help literally hundreds to thousands of people? Is that worth more to me than the amount of time? I mean, I've been getting up at 6 a.m. every day for the last few weeks to like put all the measures in place. I've got a mentor specifically to help with this. I've, invested in all of this stuff to make it as good as it possibly can so it can help as many people. Is the sacrifice worth more or less than that? And for me, the sacrifice was worth the outcome. So therefore, you would apply yourself. So sorry, I know that's kind of like a little bit of a rant as well.
Yeah.
But like, I really think that like, I taking time to yourself is completely a thing, and I think you should do that. But you can't walk out this opportunity moaning about the fact that you haven't done something.
Yeah, no.
Can we dive into this a little bit more?
Like, I was about to dive in.
I 100% agree with what you're saying, but you obviously had a clear mindset in your head of what you wanted to do, and you now have that time to do what you wanted to do. What would you suggest to the people that don't have a mindset, or they don't have a goal in their head of what they want to do? I wouldn't want to say stuck in their ways of doing what they're doing,
but they're unsure on what to go. Yeah.
I mean, I've always had like, and there's always been like a hierarchy system for me of like, you can either be comfortable, you can either be stretched, or you can either be uncomfortable. And a lot of people will sit in comfortable, and that's fine. But personally, and maybe I'm preaching here, but I'm not doing at the moment. But I've always wanted to be in stretched, because that's where you work your best, and that's where you work.
You get better brain too. Yeah,
because you want to get to. I mean, no one wants to be in uncomfortable, like, because that's just exactly, it's what it is. I've realised that I've done the levels the wrong way around. Uncomfortable, stretched, comfortable.
Sure, yeah.
No one wants to be here, but most people want to be here. But most people don't know what that is. Yeah, because most people are sitting here.
And I think I think how you've broken it down into those tiers is perfect as well. Because look, like, going 100% is not sustainable. Okay, you cannot sustain that level for a long period of time, so you burn out. Okay, people who go to the gym will smash out the gym so hard, and then they'll be hurting so much, and then they'll stop because they're not in a flow, because it's not obtainable. It's about just doing like little, we're making it regular. So yeah, like, being comfortable. Look, here's a little saying that like I go by. Everything you have in life is outside of your... So, I've messed it up.
Cut.
So everything you don't have in life is outside of your comfort zone. Because if it was inside your comfort zone, you'd already have it. So
Yeah.
if you want change, and some people don't want that, and that's also, that is fine. Each to their own, and that's fine. But you can't sit in your comfort zone and then moan about not being that person when you've had the opportunity to be that person. So there will be people who watch this who think, well, I'm just in my comfort zone and I'm happy with that. Perfect. If you're happy in life, that's the main thing, and don't change. Like, that's perfect. But there will be people watching this who are inside their comfort zone, who
are striving for other things,
who really want to make that step, but then will moan about not being that person because of excuse. Like, there are literally no excuses. Like, you only have yourself to blame for those things. So and if you don't know, another point you said was, if people, who don't really know where they want to go at the moment, they're not necessarily kind of comfortable with what they're doing. They might want some change, but they don't really know what to do. Then that's fine. That also falls into that saying, now is a time to expand your knowledge. Start to think, just spend some time, set yourself a timer this evening for the 10 minutes where you're just going to put time aside to think about what it is that you want to do. Okay. So you're just going to think what are your hobbies? What would be if money wasn't an object, what would you want to do as a job? Okay. Or if you knew you wouldn't fail, what would you do? Look at those options and start to think about, and then that might guide those people into a vision is important. 100%. You can't just go and start decorating a bathroom without knowing what you want the end product to look like. It might change along the way. I started decorating the bathroom. It's going to be different because as I've done it, I thought, do you know what? This will be cool to do this instead, right? So it can change, and that's fine. But you need to have some vision. So if you're not happy, and that's the key thing here. If you're not happy, then you need to use this time to think about how to become happy. Is it because of work, or is it because try and find out what kind of person you are? And really analyze yourself. I'm a huge advocate of self-analyzing. So just think about those kind of things and ask your friends. Say to your friends, reach out to them and say, look, if I didn't do what I already do, what do you think I'd be good at? Try and get some advice, because there'll be people that know you really well. And it might just give you, look, I'm going to do a little drawing here because I've got my whiteboard for when I do my little video thing. Here's a little tip. You can have this one for free. Right. 100. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's say you live to 100. Okay? So between what? For most people, let's say 17. Okay?
Yeah.
So when are we going to retire? Realistically.
Probably 75.
75.
Maybe even later.
Maybe here, 75. Okay? 75. Now, some people, unfortunately, aren't going to live to 100. Okay, so their line could be more like here. Am I right? Statistically speaking, it might be the case.
COVID's around, so yeah.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Now, what do you do from 17 to 75? You work, okay? Right. So, if you have a job that you don't enjoy, what does that tell you?
Yeah, it's a long old time, isn't it?
You've got a few years to enjoy the money you've made, whether, you might be focused on money but you can see that I've just done this quick, right? But you can already see where it's oh shit, it doesn't make sense. I don't enjoy my job, but it doesn't make sense. Yeah, we're all going to die, matter of fact.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And we don't know where this line is. It can be anywhere. So you need to make sure that you enjoy work. And work might be a means to an end. So you might think, well, look, I don't enjoy my job that much, but it pays really well and it gives us the life we want. Okay, great. So are you using let's do another one. Okay, so you've got, let's say you wake up at 7 a.m. and you go to bed at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
If you're like me.
I love this.
Right. So you got, it's probably backwards.
No, it's all right. When we burn
No,
it, it's good.
Sick. So yeah, 7 till 10. So you go to work from 9 in the morning, roughly. Obviously, you get ready before that until 5 o'clock.
That'd be nice.
Somewhere around here. Okay. So that's the bit that you don't enjoy doing as much. okay? But it pays for your life. And then you said you enjoy your life. So you just need to make sure that this is quality time. You need to make sure that you're spending your money and you're doing the things that you really like, or you're meditating, or you're really making sure that, okay, work isn't on a scale. There we go. On a scale, 0 to 100, okay? 100 being you love your job, it's the best thing ever, and 0 being I absolutely hate it. If you're working anything kind of below roughly halfway, you need to really start considering how important this is, okay? Or if you think that, do you know what? I don't enjoy work that much, but I really enjoy the life I have, then great. Keep going, because you're enjoying life. However, if you don't enjoy your work and you're not enjoying life, then this is where you really seriously need to start thinking about your future, because it's obviously not sustainable, you know, and it's all about happiness, and you know, happiness doesn't come from money or anything like that. So yeah, there's I obviously, like, look, I'm just
wow.
I'm just mad passionate about this stuff, because like I see it like time and time again. I see people look at me and they seem like really envious, right? And it's like, but I'm not special, like, at all. Like, I just apply like a good work ethic, like I get a good balance, and like I just try, you know, I'm not happy all the time either, like far from it. Like I have many like problems and things, but meditating really helps me with that. And it helps me just to really like channel back into becoming like just grounded and like clear in my mind and all of that kind of stuff. So that's why like I'm a huge advocate of it, because I know that this stuff can benefit people's lives massively. And ultimately, that's the kind of stuff that I'm teaching alongside business in this aspiring videographers and filmmakers group thing. So like, yeah. So yeah, I might have gone off on
No, Drew, that was amazing to go down that rabbit hole.
Mate, I feel like that it's quite a question that probably people don't ever ask. And I won't sit here and say, listen, I've been off work. I haven't done much at all. Like, I've probably played my Xbox, which I've enjoyed doing. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. That that's what I've wanted to do. But you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are struggling for things to do right now that would love to do something, and I feel like we all just need to find, whether you know what it is or not, just, you know, if you want to do something and you don't know what you want to do loads of different things.
Yeah, you'll find one that you're good at.
You find that one thing that you think, oh, you know what? Like I've always wanted to learn, and I've never done it, but I've said it so many times. I've always wanted to learn how to play the piano, and I don't really have the means to do it because I don't have a piano. But I would love to learn how to do it, and I know my nan's got a piano, and I know my mates have got a piano that I could probably borrow. But it's just getting over that to just do it.
So my wife and I learned to ballroom dance last year, right?
Amazing.
So like the waltz, and what else do we do? Tango and salsa and
all that jazz.
Obviously learn a lot of
yeah.
But it's that first step. Like I can really relate. Like it is like, it's just that first thing. And tell you what, like once you've made that first step, it's like, oh my God, like you regret the only thing you regret is
just
not
putting it off.
Sooner.
Yeah,
100%. Now, you know what I was saying about being like sustainable, like as well. Like that's where I have to like really. I know my personality, and I have to be really careful here, because like I really enjoy playing like PlayStation games and things as well. And like when I'm business driven, like I will not, like I have to be really, really, I have a lot of willpower to not do that, because I know that it will detract from what I'm doing. So I'm always kind of making those sacrifices. And one of the things, funny you say that, like when quarantine started, I was like, I want to learn to play the piano. Like I really do. Like my wife, Kath, has just started to learn to play the guitar. She used to play it when she was younger, so she's just started to learn again. And last night she was teaching me it. But I was very conscious of the fact that like when I start something and set out to do it, I want to be
the best at it.
And this is a bad trait. This is a bad thing. Like, and I'm conscious of this. So that's why when you're conscious of it, you then can become more careful about your environment and things. But yeah, like, you know, I to be the best at that thing, and I find it like no one's expectations are like higher than the ones I set myself, and like that's a bad thing, because I will get extremely frustrated. I'm not a guitar player, but the fact that like I couldn't play part of this song was driving me insane.
Yeah.
Like absolutely insane, where it's not enjoyable anymore. But I want to be the best guitar player.
Yeah. I think it's a really good point. Like, especially I'm very much like you, Ross, in the sense of like, if I'm doing something, I want to be the best at it. But there's an element to me that is, I love the journey and the struggle and the frustration that you're rubbish at something. Like,
it's only determination to get to that point of being the best at it.
Yeah, and it's that kind of like, I was just trying to think. So like, for instance, Drew, when we were talking about, or when you were talking about, you know, about people who, obviously, Ross, you made that quote about, look, if you don't come out of this with something, you know, da da da. And I was kind of thinking about, you know, the first couple of weeks of furlough, I'm doing whatever, and then actually, me and Drew were like, you know what, actually, like, let's get back, you know, get on the podcast and just see where it goes. And mate, I 100% think like me and you are like, we're driving.
All right, golden, I'm done.
Yeah, we're trying to like drive to build something that kind of was some fun at the start, and it was me and Drew chatting. Then, you know, we're still keeping that element, but now I thought, you know, why don't we try and get like strangers on, or people that we know but who are doing things, and talk about their life and what they do and how they're dealing with the pandemic, and just, you know, one, for mental health. People need to have conversations, like, other than me and Louise talking and me and Drew talking, like, I'm not coming across many people. So to have new conversations and learn things, that's one of the biggest things, you know, we've learned loads, especially yesterday when we were talking to Chris about the fitness industry and about why the cost of everything went through the roof and how it was costed. That's something that, like, a learning about.
And how well he's done.
Yeah. And the economy and like, and that kind of like mindset of like, okay, that, you know, that you can strive in this time, or that certain people are, and obviously like yourself, about how you're dealing with the mental health, the meditation. Like, this is all learning that we're gonna, you know, encompass. And then, you know, 2 people down the podcast, they might be talking about meditation. We're like, oh, we were speaking to Ross about, and they've got their, like, how they're doing on it, and like the learning from this, from you know, we've only done 11 now, but just from those 11, understanding how people work and their mental health and how they deal with it has been like one of the best things. And now it's something that I've suddenly realized that this is like a passion project, that I want to build a proper good channel with Drew and get crazy good guests on, talking about their success, their failures, their frustrations, even, you know, mental health and how people can help and stuff like that. And this is going to be, you know, at the start it was a bit fun, and now I've started to get, you know, Drew's noticed it, especially, like, I've become very obsessed with it. Who's next guest, how can we do this, what, like, I've gone from,
this is what happens when the gyms aren't open.
Yeah, a little logo, stuff like that, and then building the logo into something like way better, doing the thumbnails, creating the YouTube, really all the accounts. And it's like I've almost built a business. Okay, it's not payment and stuff like that, but I built a business that I'm now running Monday to Friday, like an actual business. Like, I get up, I'm like, right, I've got this one on, I get everything ready, I've got the questions down, you know, I'm talking to Drew in the morning, getting lined up about like how we're going to approach it, about new guests, trying to contact it. Like, my phone's consistently busy with either talking to someone, trying to get them on, or a notification that someone watched it, and it's become like crazy. And I think, like you said, that this, Drew, is our thing that we've learned and we are pushing now in this kind of time of skill set. Is
I think this is all on you, Josh. I'm just here for comedic.
The side chick.
Right, you are.
No, I agree. I think.
Just remember, the channel was my idea in the first place. Right?
50%.
Bro, 50. Oh yeah, the XXL podcast is mine. I'm only joking.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. I think it's really commendable. Yeah, like, you know, it's just using that time wisely, and like, yeah, like, you know, we humans, you know, we're social beings, you know, and obviously we don't really have much of that at the moment, and yeah, I think it's really cool. I love the concept of it. Is like, it's super, super cool. Yeah, I think what you guys are doing is great. So yeah, just keep doing it. Just keep having fun with it. And like, that's the thing. It all roll for sure.
Exactly. And people will pick it up. But
I don't know how we're doing for time.
You know what? I haven't had the old 10-minute warning come up, so we're doing.
We haven't had that yet. Right.
No, yeah.
Were you about to say something?
I was just gonna probably almost what you were gonna say is in terms of like the pandemic. Like, how have you dealt with it? Like, have you had worries, or what? You know, what's the future? What do you see for the future in terms of your business and stuff like that, and how it maybe is affected by the pandemic? One thing I actually really wanted to ask earlier, actually, before going into that, is have you had anything like, or any kind of interest from, I want to say companies, but maybe, yeah, I guess kind of companies / government people or councils about like creating video around the pandemic and about like, you know, not 2-minute distance type thing, but creating visuals and stuff like that for companies. Have you had much interest around that?
Yeah. So firstly, like, kind of how it's affected us. Like, it has been crazy. Like, the whole media industry has been has obviously taken a huge hit. So yeah, we have a lot of clients on retainers, so like on content plans, and that's been like a huge like saving grace for us. That's really, you know, it helped us out. So yeah, like, we've been affected a lot, but then we just use the time just to reach out to local people and just have chats and try and help them and try and set things up for the future. And just taking that approach to it, opposed to like any kind of sales approach. And then in the last week, it's really started to pick up. So like I said, I think we've got 4 projects. I've got 2 meetings today as well about projects, and all the projects are about businesses doing videos about, you know, hey, we're still open, but look, here are the measures that we've put in place to ensure your safety. I actually did a post about it on LinkedIn, basically explaining just that, you know, like, those people who are returning to work, you know, there's no point in returning to work because you need to build trust again with your clients, because what's happened is, you know, they're not going to know whether you've put in safety measures or not. So you need to tell them that. And the best way of telling them that is through video. And again, the best way of building trust is through good video. So you can see kind of how it all interlinks. So yeah, so we've got a lot of projects lined up. I've got 2 shoots next week, and then I think 1 or 2 the week after. So yeah, things are, you know, picking up, and of course, you know, we've put in measures as well to ensure, you know, obviously our team safety and all of that as well. You know, just doing obviously what you can, you know, just kind of adhering to kind of any guidelines where possible. But yeah, there has been in the film side of things, like, you know, as people are returning to work, yeah, that's been good. And the future of it as well, I think. Good question. I don't really know. I honestly think things will return to some kind of normality, because look, we are creatures of habit, right? Like, history repeats itself, and it's because we forget, you know, and we just fall back into our old kind of ways, and so things will be return to some normality, you know, in a period of time. But will that be for the next 6 months? Like, I certainly don't think so. So for the time being, it's just trying to manage those situations the best that you can, I think.
Yeah.
Smashed it. Right.
Go on, Drew.
I'm pretty sure we covered it, but I was gonna go into our top tips.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've already said what you think your top tip is, but we've done it with everyone, Ross. What would be, maybe not obviously surviving Corona, because that's not a thing, but, well, it is, but not, you can't give a top tip for surviving coronavirus. Yeah. What would be your top tip for surviving or getting through lockdown? I'm pretty sure we've covered it, but
as a business,
as a business and as you.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. So as a business, like, I really think, like, the main top tip is just to position yourself as everyone's friend. You know, like, don't be the salesperson. Don't go out there just asking for like sales and things. Like, just position yourself as a helping hand, and I swear to God, like it will make you so much more money in the long run. So just focus that. Just take a nice approach. Just be nice, and survive in lockdown. And in like a personal tip, I think I'm gonna break the rules here. I'm gonna say routine. I think you need a routine. So set yourself a little routine. Whether it's I watched a thing with a Navy SEAL, and he said the best thing you can do is make your bed in the morning, because it's a small win, but you've started the day on a win. Like it's a little bit hard when my wife gets up later than I do, but but it's a little thing. It's like
do that one side.
Having some kind of routine and starting those days. So I'm going to say routine, and I do honestly believe that inside that routine, meditate for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. It really, and if you don't know how to, there's really good videos on YouTube. There are thousands and thousands of studies, like scientific studies, that show so many health benefits to do with your heart, your immune system, and everything to do with meditating. And again, what I find funny about that is that there'll be the naysayers that are just like, oh, well, it's just meditating. What can that do? But yeah, it's scientifically proven.
It's backed up.
Legit. Like, it's no longer just like a hippie thing. Like it's a thing. Like let's keep doing it. It really does help. It helps with your overall well-being. I truly believe that. So. And I honestly, hand on heart, just wish everyone the best through this time as well. And they can always reach out. Reach out to me, whether I know you or not, or anything. I'm sure it's the same for you guys. So I'd say that those are my 2 top tips. Be nice.
Be nice. That's it. Be nice. Wash your hands. Stay at home. Save lives. Stay alert, because you need to know when that shit's coming around.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I'm in the studio on my own. There's no one here. Everyone's working from home, so it's Just get on in the comments like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Me and Josh are actually sitting right next to each other.
Yeah. I'm in another room to Drew.
Yeah. The echo between us is actually really bad. If I actually,
yeah.
Nailed it.
Ross, thank you so much for coming on, mate.
It's been a pleasure.
Always good to catch up with you and obviously see how the business is going. And yeah, absolutely fantastic. Keep doing what you're doing.
Is there anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, make sure. Yeah, give yourself.
Yeah, I guess the only thing, guys, is if you are aspiring filmmaker or videographer, film photographer, then go and join the aspiring videographers and filmmakers Facebook group. I think there's like 200 people in there. Everyone helps each other. It's a real nice community. Otherwise, I'm Ross Welch. You can find me on all the socials and things, so you can add it up. But no, guys, I'm really humbled you asked me on, and no, thanks very much. I think likewise, keep doing what you're doing. I think it's really cool.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Appreciate you. We will make sure that's linked in the description as well. So
yeah, Perspective Studios. I hope I said that right.
That's the one.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Guys,
cheers, Ross. Thank you very much, mate.
No problem at all. You're more than welcome. See you all soon, all right?
Take it easy. Stay safe, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow.
There we go. That was quite something. That was a good chat.
Mate, really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed it. Again, like, obviously, first time you meeting him and stuff like that. Like, I've known the guy, God, like close to 10 years now. Well, probably about 9. Well, no, actually about 10 years. And like, he's like, how you see him there, that's him. I've never seen him in a, I'm sure he has low days and stuff like that, but he's always up for doing, being positive and just getting on with things and stuff like that. And I thought that was a fantastic and diverse. Yeah, super diverse. We're talking about obviously, extreme sports, but then you got, a guy sitting there saying, go and meditate. And I think it's fantastic that kind of divert, and it shows that everyone out there has got their thing, their little tips and their little trade secrets that we're kind of uncovering. Amazing. Right,
guys,
do the honors.
Subscribe, turn notifications on. Obviously, me and Josh are absolutely trying to smash out the videos at the moment. We hope you guys are enjoying them. So hopefully they're making your lockdown a little bit more pleasant. We're trying to have a lot of fun with it. Obviously, there are some deep and meaningful chats that we that we sometimes find ourselves in, but that's all good, and that's part of it. So, like I say, I hope you're enjoying the videos. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on, and
all that jazz.
Peace.
And also, guys, if you want to come and join us
okay.
on the podcast, sorry, yeah, and we go again.
Oh, there we go.
If you want to come and join us on the podcast, you know, it's only, feel free to DM us, whether, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you're seeing this. I mean, probably YouTube if you're seeing this, but like, feel free to, drop us. Look, you don't have to have a topic. It's always good for us to have conversation. Like, you could turn up and we end up on some random topic and going down all rabbit holes and stuff like that. It's all about having conversation, helping mental health, meeting new people. As we said, we started this because we wanted to talk to new people, have fun, super light-hearted stuff, and try and get, through lockdown with some new skills, some new knowledge and new friends. So yeah, me and Drew, we got big love for everyone. So come and join us.
We got nothing but time.
Nothing but time. Love that. Cool. Over and out.